Are you ready to see her for the first time?
Yes, Charlie.
Jerome, will you please escort her in?
Yes.
If it's his, she's gonna look just like him.
Yeah, because they grown.
Because girls always look like their daddy.
Damn, he ain't never seen her before?
You couldn't even look at her when you came in?
Mama ain't shit.
Is it too painful? What do you feel, Miss Smith?
It's emotional because I ain't never seen him before. I still can't look at him. I don't want to be crying.
You can look at me. Okay.
She's beautiful, though.
The time in which you met.
We had just moved to Detroit. And my sister, she had moved in with a friend. So we went over there. We had visit. We were sitting, drinking, and talking. We talked on the step for a minute. Went upstairs and had sex, and that's what it was. That's what it was.
So it really was a brief encounter.
Yes.
Right, and then, see, after that...
And Mr. Harrelson, you say you didn't even know her name.
Nah,
he knew my name. I knew his nickname.
You know what I'm saying? We only knew nicknames from each other, like what people called us. We didn't know each other.
So how did she tell you she was pregnant?
I didn't know about the pregnancy. I only knew when the baby was here.
So I didn't tell y'all pregnant again?
No, how could you?
No, we were still in the same area.
No, when she came back in the picture or in town or wherever she was from,
I didn't never leave.
She seen my mother.
I didn't never leave. Okay, so
you left town.
You left.
I left.
After this sexual encounter, you left town.
Right.
All right, and the
you can't get mad at that man shit. You don't even fucking know him.
I come back to her telling my mother that I have a child.
And so was Mr. Harrelson the only man you were having sex with at the time?
Yes. That's not what you told me.
That's not true.
Yes.
That's not true.
Yes.
Did the little girl just say that's not what you told me?
Talia, you say that's not true?
She said she was talking to somebody else. She said after her and my daddy, around the time her and my daddy had sex, she was talking to somebody else.
Cause we wasn't in a relationship. It was just a hit it and quit it. We wasn't in a relationship. We just had sex and that's what it was.
We both were in and out.
But no, with all due respect, there are many people alive here on this earth who are products of hit it and quit.
Right. It is.
So that's just reality.
It is.
How did you even find out you were on child support?
When I started working, it just started coming out my check. But in 2001 or 2 is when I noticed money started.
So you never got a summons to appear in court?
No. You know why I didn't? Because I didn't have an address. I was not in town.
How he got on child support, how he told me was, after they had sex or whatever, he said it was around his birthday, he was up on the influence, and supposedly my mama stole his ID and his social security card and went to put him on child support. When she went to go put him on child support, she gave them the wrong address, so therefore he never received no child support.
No,
wait, hold on.
What it was.
Wait, hold on. You're saying Mr. Harrelson told you that story? Mr. Harrelson, what story is that? A stealing of the ID? What?
I know for a fact she stole my ID and my social security card. And she told
How you know
She told me she stole it.
I didn't tell you I stole nothing.
If you didn't know his real name, you only knew the nickname. How did you find out his full name to put him on child support?
The people we were staying with, he been upstairs for I don't know how long he been living upstairs from the people downstairs. They knew his name.
And so when she went down and followed this process, at the point she gave your name and address, there should have been a letter or someone said something to tell you to appear in court for a DNA test. You never got that?
No, I didn't.
Explain.
I wasn't in the States. I was gone.
And so at that point, you pretty much missed the court date.
Yeah, I missed all of the court.
So what we do know is that if you miss a court date, you're going to be named the father by default.
Exactly.
And now you're $20,000 in debt because you did not show up to court, and this debt is all for a child you don't believe is your biological child.
See, but the thing about that is, I've tried throughout the years to get DNA tests, and she just wouldn't cooperate with that.
He didn't want to pay for it. He wanted me to go half. I'm not paying for half. I know she mad. I know she mad.
If you want more episodes of Paternity Court,
No,
make
man,
sure
how
to
stupid is
subscribe
that?
and click on the notification bell.
Talking about from the lady? Rhonda, that's what I be telling you, man.
As we begin to talk about all of the things that were happening.
Man, that's what I be telling you, man.
You were growing up without a dad. And what was life like growing up without your dad? So much so that when you walked in here, you couldn't even look at him.
At the end of the day, there's nobody like your real dad. And I just never could really connect with any other male because there really wasn't my dad or whatever.
Tell me about your childhood. What was it like?
It was rough all the way up until 5 or 6 years ago.
When you say it was rough, what do you mean?
We wasn't stable. We was always moving around or whatever. And 5 years ago, I had a son. And I'm not saying that was because of stuff my mama did or because we wasn't stable, but she just let me do whatever I wanted to do.
And you felt like you had no boundaries. You had no stability. I can see the tears in your eyes. That upsets you that you didn't have that.
Yeah. I mean, because I wouldn't have had a baby so young. I wouldn't have to grow up so fast. I wouldn't have to do none of that if my mom would just sit your tail down somewhere. Or if I had a dad, he'd be like, sit your tail down somewhere, or tell me what to do, what not to do.
Nah, motherfucker, that's the choice you made.
Right, that's
One
something
thing,
else.
I've had dialogue back and forth with her since she was 14, I think 15. She contacted me on Facebook saying, I think you might be my father.
That ain't his
So,
baby.
Taleya, tell me
She look
about
just
that.
like her mama.
I mean, I think you said that so beautifully too, and I don't think I've heard any, young person come into
But
this
again,
courtroom
Ronnie,
and
that's what I be
express it in that
saying.
way.
You're young,
They just
and
wish they had a
it's
father
on
or
you
mother
too.
to tell them to go
You know what I'm
sit
saying? But you're young, and you don't understand that.
Children, it seems as if they resent when their parents parent them. And I hear you now saying that you wish you had that. That could have been life-changing.
CG, man, guess what?
For someone to tell you that's enough. You need to come in at a certain time, have a curfew. You don't need to be out
But
with
Emmanuel,
him.
this is what I'm saying. You damned if you do and you damned if you don't.
She had it, so she wanted to be hot. But she told me to stay my way home. Oh, I didn't have a home, I forgot.
And what this is really going on?
It's okay for you to speak your truth.
She's mad. No,
I've always asked my mama, she could tell you, I've always asked her who my dad was. She never gave me a different name. She always said his name was Raymond Harrison. He had 2 pages then. And so I mentioned both of them. I was like, I think my dad, I think my dad. It was 2014. He said, is your mom Kawana? I was like, yeah, why? And then the conversation just went from there.
So, Mr. Harrelson, when you get that message and you see it's Taleya and she's saying, I think you're my dad, you ask her, is this your mother?
Yes.
What do you do next?
Well, basically, I'm just making sure she...
But how can you ask her that? He didn't know my name, so how can you ask her that? Is your mama this and you ain't know my name? And we ain't never got that was said.
This is what, three years ago? I've been paying child support since 2001. Oh, I know your name.
Yes, you do. You didn't know he was paying child support.
No, I didn't know. I didn't know he was paying child support until a couple years ago.
What? And so you never feel like you benefited from that child support?
You got cards. You been using the money. You got a card. I ain't never a
couple years ago, right? Cause
but that's my money. That's my too. You had a card.
Yeah, cause it was, and I took it.
Yeah. So what you complaining for?
I ain't complaining. I'm just saying I didn't know he was paying child support until a couple years ago. Because if he was paying child support, you're supposed to support the child with child support.
She got a right to complain. She has a right to complain. She has a right to speak her piece because she's the one that has lived with this all this time. And to have the courage as a young girl to reach out to a grown man and say, I think you're my daddy, that's a lot. What was it like when you connected, when you finally got to talk to him?
We just connected or whatever. Because when we would have phone conversations, our phone conversations would be really, really long. We would talk all the time, and we would just have so much in common, and it wasn't weird and it wasn't awkward. And I would always be like, Daddy this, Daddy that. He'd be like, don't be calling me that.
Oh, you would call him Daddy, and he said, don't call him that?
Yeah, he said, I don't know. He said, I'm not saying you. He was like, I'm not saying you is, but Just, I don't want you to get used to calling me daddy and I don't be your daddy.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be?
I mean,
bad? You know what I'm saying? She been calling me father or daddy all this time. Then we found out she's not. So I said, just don't get used. She calling me that. I said, I just want to find out the truth from her.
And so have you built a relationship together?
Yes.
You have. You talk?
Yes, a lot. Deep down in her heart, she believes I'm her father. And even if I tell her don't call me that, she still will call me that.
Because you do believe he is your dad.
What if he ain't?
Have you
He's not.
yourself?
Oh my God.
If it doesn't
But
go
she
the way
wants a
your
man in her life. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Someone else. Have you prepared yourself? What if he's not my biological father?
Then I'm going to look at her and say who it is. Because, after, if he not, then I probably won't worry about it because I'm going to be 20 years old, then I just wouldn't see the point, but...
20 years old is still very young, honey. And I want to tell you, there is no time frame on feelings that you have related to wanting to know your father. Trust me, I see people each and every day, 50 years old, still wanting to know. And there's nothing wrong with that. So I just want you to understand.
I wouldn't want to know if he's not, because I don't like opening up to people. Like, I have a wall, and he could tell you I have a wall, and I don't even want to let him all the way in yet till I find out. And I'm not trying to start over with somebody else. That's just not gonna happen. It's hard.
She's not trying to go past me.
I understand
That's
why you
sad.
have a wall. And Mom, I know this has been not an easy day for
Oh
you.
shit, bro. You might as well just go ahead and...
You do care.
You might as well just go ahead and
You do care.
make a relationship with her, man.
Ain't that a biscuit? And what are your hopes today, Mr. Harrelson?
I just want the truth.
Well, I think I've heard sufficient testimony. And I think it's time we get the truth. You don't have the results. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows.
He is not the father.
In the case of Harrelson versus Smith, when it comes to 19-year-old Talea Smith, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Harrelson, you
Or not.
are the father.
That's made for TV.
Found the father, Talea. We did it, honey. You made it. Thank you, Dad. Talea, would you like to go down and stand with your dad? And I want to ask you something. Because when you came in the courtroom, you said you couldn't look at him. Can you look at him for the first time?
So sad. Mr. DJ, why don't you slow this party down? What? The ladies in here are mine. Baby, I'm gonna need you to sing more.
Oh, okay, nice.
Who? I'll tell you when to stop.
One who's caught my eye, pull her close.
Nah, babe, you don't got enough feeling in it. What?
And whisper sweet things in her ear. Oh yeah.
You don't got enough feeling.
Night full of fire, baby.
I'll be the lead of this
Oh
group.
yeah. And you're the only one my heart desires, baby.
The only one I
Wanna slow down. Girl, you're the only one.
Hey, Mr. DJ, why don't you slow this party down? What happened?
Started it over.
I don't got time for you, Kelly.
I know you can find a guy.
I mean,
Just have another one with Wayne.
she probably wants to have a baby with the right person.
Wayne,
Not just
you and Wayne
anyone.
make a good breed, clearly.
Me and Wayne, but you know what? I said that in my proposal. I said, if I don't find someone that's sweet, maybe we can have a baby.
Why not?
Yes.
Because you are the
Okay, Wayne.
You're OG, baby mama. Out of all the baby mamas.
You ain't wrong for that.
Yeah, with his music, for his drugs. I mean, you know what? It didn't happen, but it didn't happen like right then and there. Like,
Right. So I watched the Can't Stop, Won't Stop movie, and I had no idea when I saw that you and Faye had not been good this whole time. I guess people might have known that. I watched it and was like floored that they caught that moment and how dope and special that moment to watch was. I don't know what to shoot, what that felt like or where you're at now. Or
yeah, it was. It's a God-given thing when something like that can happen.
right.
Yeah.
Did you know that was going to happen? Or they put the cameras on?
No, I mean, you know what? It didn't happen, but it didn't happen like right then and there. Like
Right.
we had a show at the Garden. Remember that very first show we had where Puppy brought us? It was the very first show, literally.
Yes.
Where Puppy brought.
If you got to be with the show. Right.
Not the one where we did the Barclay.
Okay, got it.
Because that was, I'm talking about a year before that when
Okay.
Dr. Dre came out and we were at Madison Square Garden, the smaller part of the garden. When was
The theater at the Garden.
Yes.
This is how I want my freaking hair.
And I'm trying to think what else happened.
And she was there.
She was there, and
guys weren't
that was the very first time we talked. She came up to me and genuinely said some nice things to me, and she said some nice things about my daughter, and she was just like, she just basically was very sincere, and I felt like all the other times that she came up to me or we had her and she tried to for whatever reason I didn't.
Is that Lil' Kim talking?
Right,
Maybe you weren't ready to receive
and
it.
I wasn't ready to receive it at the
Yeah.
time, so I didn't think it was sincere. For me, it didn't come off sincere, and maybe it really wasn't. God do things for a reason, because maybe it wasn't, or maybe I wasn't ready. That's what I feel like. Maybe
Is that Lil' Kim?
Mm-hmm.
she wasn't all the way there, and then maybe I wasn't.
I mean,
over there.
Kim just fucked herself up.
Great time.
She was a cute girl.
Garden. That was actually the first time. That wasn't taped or anything. That was because the Garden happened like a year before.
Isn't that a good feeling though when that happens?
It's like you tried to look like Faith or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's something you can never fix, but some things when you can fix them, it's like I don't know. It's just like a
Look at
release.
this
of like,
crazy looking lady.
yeah, I never want problems with anybody. Sometimes you can't do it because other people's whatever. But
No, it's true.
you know
It's
what I
true.
mean? You don't
It's
want problems.
no.
She looks better right
there's some
there.
people who probably
No,
do.
she looks
But
horrible.
because of how they live their life, you could tell they look for it.
Right.
But never.
If that's her right now, she's come a long way
to
back.
want it, or either isn't that
She-
I
But she definitely
Because
messed
she was-
herself